Hey everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for this week. These are the horoscopes ending the week of February 6th, 2016. We are officially heading out of the shadow of the Mercury retrograde, so hopefully things are going to start calming down for everybody all across the board. At least we hope so, because this has been quite a Mercury retrograde, I must say, and I know that they don't normally affect me quite as badly as this one has, but I don't know about you guys, it's been kind of a pain in the rear. But in any case, we're going to get right to the horoscopes, and we're going to get started as we always do with Aries. Now, we got some good news and some bad news this week, as Uranus is, of course, squared with Pluto and Venus and Mercury this week, and this is going to cause some financial difficulties for you guys. And unfortunately, nobody wants to hear about financial difficulties, but everybody goes through financial difficulties at some point. However, the good news is the amount of support that is available from those that you love and those people that support you, as Uranus is currently moving into a grand sextile with Mars and the Sun this week. And this is really showing you how much support you have from those you love, your relationships, the people around you. That is really a big deal when it comes to achieving your dreams and goals. So those finances might be a bit of an issue, but at the same time, let's put the worries of the finances on the back burner this week, because really worrying about your financial situation isn't going to help you. But you've got all of these people popping up that are ready to help you, and it may just be such an immense support system that you've got going this week that finances or lack of money or whatever, it's really not that much of a big deal. Of course, everybody wants to be able to have the money that they need in order to do what they want to do, but do you really need it when you got so many people there to help you out? You may not need to spend the money when you got people to help you out. So this week, yes, those financial difficulties may be a little bit of a pain in the rear, but with so much loving support around you to project you forward into what it is that you want to do, you really can't go wrong as long as you don't let the difficulties weigh you down. So you guys, be badass this week and have a great week. Taurus, this week is a perfect chance to get caught up on maybe some things that have been put on the back burner recently due to certain circumstances, or being really focused or busy on other things, or even a beautiful chance to get some things started that you've been wanting to do that you just haven't had the time to do in a while. Now, with this week's focus, there's really not a whole lot to focus on, and this is why you get a little bit of a break from actually having something that needs to be done. And so you don't want to waste this energy on boredom, because it can go in that direction really, really fast. When you don't have anything specific that you need to focus on, you got to find something to focus on. And this is a beautiful chance, like I said, to either get caught up on some things that you put on the back burner for a while, or maybe start something that you've been wanting to start, but you just really haven't had the time for. So this week, there's all kinds of beautiful time and beautiful energy just specifically for you to be able to do these things that you've been wanting to do, but you just haven't had a chance to do. Don't sit around and be bored, because that's not going to do you any good, and that's not going to make anything awesome. That's just going to keep things standing still. And besides, it is so boring to be bored, so you don't want to do that anyways. You guys have a great week with that. Gemini, this week is all about you, and specifically really paying attention to you. When you got so much going on in your life and the hustle and bustle of the typical Gemini life, there's always tons of things to focus on, but it's the top priority of that list of things to focus on should be you before anything else. You, of course, need to recharge your batteries and take some time for you. Do something for you. Do something that makes you feel awesome, makes you feel wonderful, because that's what you need in order to recharge those batteries and really focus on all of the other things that you're focused on with a fresh outlook, a fresh mind, a fresh body, fresh energy, fresh everything. So this week is really, really, really important for you Geminis to take that time for you. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as it's exactly what you want to do. Because when you do exactly what you want to do, even a little bit every day, it really makes it seem like everything else is not getting quite so overwhelming and not stretching you out too thin. So you guys, enjoy doing something for you for a change, and have a great week with that. Cancer, when you're dealing with difficulties in your day-to-day life this week, happy memories from the past can actually be something that's very helpful and useful to you to get you through the current difficulties that you're going through. Now, a lot of the time, people look at past memories and they look at them and it kind of sort of makes them feel a little bit sad because, you know, they were happy times. You're not obviously dealing with a happy time right now. You're dealing with a difficulty. So the nostalgia of it makes you kind of sort of wish that you were back there instead of where you are now. But at the same time, they do have their use in making things better too, especially when you're dealing with difficulties within your family or circumstances around your family. These past memories bring all kinds of things, some smiles, some laughter. It kind of hits you on the heart place a little bit. And the beautiful thing is, with all of these people around you, you can share these happy memories and really sit down and just, hey, remember when this happened, and have a good laugh, or even have a good cry in a good way. Crying doesn't necessarily have to be in a bad way. So this week, when you find yourself a little bit nostalgic through the difficulties that you may be going through this week, take a look at those times. You know, take a look at, say, when you're having difficulties with your kids. Of course, you want to go back to looking at them and remembering them when they were babies. And that's, of course, going to make you miss them as babies, but it's going to make you smile at the same time when you think about those memories of them doing and saying those really cute things that they did at that time. Even though right now, there may be a teenager standing in front of you who hates your guts right now. We've all had one of those, right? At least if you've had teenagers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this week, let those happy memories really lighten the load and lighten the situation a little bit instead of drag you down into a deeper hole. Because trust me, you're going to benefit from this a heck of a lot more than you are pining for the past, so to speak. So you guys, have some laughs and have a great week with that. Leo, how you mind your thoughts this week is everything. Actually, it's everything, whether it's this week, next week, or for the rest of your life, really. Most of us, and I'm not excluded from this, everybody does this, when faced with difficult situations, their mind goes to fear-based thoughts and the worst case scenario every single time. I mean, it's just the way that our brains work, unfortunately, or the way that our ego-based communication or self-communication works for us, unfortunately. But it doesn't work in our favor, and this is the problem. It makes us too scared to make a decision and move forward. When you're faced with difficult decisions this week, it really is important to let go of those fear-based thoughts. Don't even go there. And before you tell me, that's just the way my brain works, honey, it's your brain. You have control over it, and you need to take control over it if that is the case. Now this week, when you're faced with these difficult challenges and those nasty negative fear-based thoughts start to pop up, you have the right to say, no, I don't want to go there. I would rather think about a positive outcome. This is not unrealistic at all. And a lot of in many ways, our society has made us feel like we're giving ourselves unrealistic expectations. No, we're not doing that. What we're doing is we're putting ourselves in a positive power place. And this positive power place helps us make better decisions for ourselves. Whereas the fear-based thoughts, they don't do so well with better decisions. So this week, take control of your brain, for crying out loud, because you own that brain. It works for you, and it should work for you. Think of it as an employee. If the employee is doing his job, things are going to run smoothly. And if the employee is causing problems, things are not going to run smoothly. You're the boss. This is the employee. Take control of that brain and make sure that you have a great week with that. Virgo, Jupiter moves into a beautiful grand sextile position with Mars, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto. bringing great financial news and also a real beautiful burst of energy to really get things done when it comes to getting things done during the day. Or during the week for that matter, every day during the week. If you're feeling like you got all this pent up energy and you need to put it towards something, put it towards something you've been wanting to do. Now again, you don't want to talk yourself out of it by saying, well, just don't know if I'm good enough for that. That's not going to work in your favor, okay? You don't want to go there. You're Virgos. You need to know just how important it is to really believe in what you can do. It doesn't mean that because you think like this, you're going to be successful 100% of the time, but 95% of the time is better than nothing. Now, when you, of course, entertain those fear-based thoughts, what's going to happen? You are successful 0% of the time. So think about it. It's actually a lot better, okay? Now, this is really good timing because Jupiter moves into square position with Saturn, which after this week is going to be a T-square as Neptune moves into that aspect. So it is going to be a pretty heavy aspect that's going to last for a while. You really want to jump onto this energy and really use it as much as you can this week. You don't want to waste it because it's going to be more difficult or more challenging next week. Now, this squared position between Jupiter and Saturn is going to make a little bit of a difficulty when it comes to your relationships. And you may find it difficult not to throw your hands up in the air and roll your eyes and go, it's always the way. Things are great over here, but they suck over here. You know what? That's life. That's how life works. You really have to be able to understand that you have to move through the tides of life, move through the difficulties and the challenges, and really understand that life doesn't really work in a happy-go-lucky, everything is perfect all the time kind of a way. I mean, I know Virgos love that perfection thing, but it doesn't work that way. You can't let the difficulties drag you down or hold you back from what it is that you need to do. So, what are you going to do? These are your choices here. Deal with the difficulties in the relationships as and when they come, but really focus on what is good right now, because if you allow the difficulties to overtake your focus, then unfortunately, you're not leaving very much time for success, and you want to make sure that you do have time for that success. And the relationship issues, they will work themselves out. They always do. So you guys, be the Virgos that you know you can be, and have a great week with that. Libra, this week, it is all about those that you love, which is a beautiful place for Libra to be, because out of all the Libras I've known, and I've known so many Libras in my lifetime, those that they love are really, really important to them. And taking care of these people is really one of the most important things in a Libra's life. They're always the first ones to jump up and help out and be there for anybody in need. And they're always the first ones there to do anything, really, or to offer up themselves as being helpers or doing things for other people. It is a beautiful thing, but it can consume your life at the same time. Now, the dark moon coming into your sign this week is really trying to teach you that you need to change maybe the way that you are dealing with those that you love. Now, it's a beautiful thing, of course, to be there and to be helpful and to want to be helpful and to do all of these things. I mean, I agree. I think it's wonderful. But some Libras that I know, they don't really know how to say the word no when it comes to certain things. And they'll do it just because they're so used to doing it all the time. Now, you do too much for too many people too many times, and what happens? You spread yourself so thin, and in the end, nobody's there to help you, because really, it's not that they don't love you. It's the fact that you've trained them to believe that you're Superman or Superwoman, and you can take on the world and do everything. This is an unrealistic expectation, and you're teaching them bad habits. This week, you really have to lay down some boundaries when it comes to some of these things. And really remember that you need to put yourself as a priority above everybody else. This is not a narcissistic thing. This is not a greedy thing. You have to do this in order to keep on going and doing what you're doing. So this week, it's really, really important to allow the dark moon to teach you that, one, it is okay to be helpful, but you don't have to do everything for everybody. And two, that you really have to put yourself as a top priority first. Otherwise, you're going to wear yourself out. And in the end, there won't be anybody there to help you when you've helped everybody else. And you don't want to be in that position. Nobody wants to be in that position. You also really want to understand that if you are constantly there to help people, all you're teaching them is that you will do everything for them. And you don't want to teach people that. It's a very bad lesson, because if in the event, God forbid, you're ever not there, they're not going to know how to do it themselves. And they really, really do need to know that. So Libras, stand your ground. Really put down those boundaries. Really take care of you. And have a great week with that. Scorpio, with Mars in grand sextile position with Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, and Pluto, we're talking some awesome energy for this week, for every day this week. And we're really putting that energy into expanding and making some money. And everybody loves to make money, right? Money, of course, they say is the root of all evil, but let's face it, in our lives, we have to have it. There is no other way around it. Money is something that we need in order to feed ourselves, to put a roof over our heads, even just to have the things that we want. And it's not okay to want things. It doesn't make you greedy. You should get what you work for, right? This week, there's a beautiful energy that is specifically put into making money, communicating about your goals about making money, getting those things that you love, or getting the money to get those things that you love, and to really make some positive changes when it comes to how you get money, whether that's a new job, whether that's extra income, whether it's really just, taking those ideas that you've had about making some extra money and doing something about them. Mars energy is really strong, and it's going to project you forward. But in his squared position with the sun, it may also feel like some of your plans or your dreams or your goals are just a bit too far-fetched or just way too out of your reach. Now, of course, you don't want to spend too much time focusing on that. Some of those goals may be out of your reach. I mean, if you're not an astronaut but you want to be on the moon next week, it's kind of a little bit out of reach. It's just probably not something that's going to happen. But it can be a goal for years down the road after you've done some training, some astronaut training, and then maybe you land on the moon later on. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It just means that it's unrealistic to expect it to happen tomorrow, basically. So don't let that drag you down and frustrate you, or turn that Mars energy into frustration instead of an ambitious energy that protects you forward. Do what you can, but don't get caught up on things that you can't do. That's what you don't want to do. Once you get caught up on the things that you can't do, you're not productive anymore, and you're stopping yourself. Use that energy wisely. Make that money, honey, because this week, it is time for you to do that. So you guys, enjoy that money and enjoy your hard work, and have a great week with that. Sagittarius, the moon comes into your sign Tuesday through Thursday this week, and as she joins the conjunction with Saturn, she's also going to join her sextile with Uranus and the sun, and it is all about shining when it comes to achieving some of your personal goals and dreams. Now, you've had some ideas, you've had these goals, you really, really want to make something of these goals. This week, there's a beautiful energy to really get some things done. And Saturn's placement in this, of course, is that you have a responsibility to yourself to get these things done and to do it your way, because Uranus is all about being independent and unique and doing it, basically dancing to your own tune, doing it your way. Now, of course, with Saturn still in that squared position with Neptune, it does seem like your career goals are not part of these goals, and that's okay. You may not be able to make a lot of changes within your career right now, but it may mean that these goals that we're referring to are not necessarily career goals. They're other goals. So when you feel like your career isn't moving, focus on something else, some other goals that you have. Because let's face it, your job, your career, it's not your whole life. You have plenty of other things to focus on, especially if you're a typical Sagittarius, you got tons of things to focus on. So use that energy wisely. Don't worry so much about the career and where it's heading right now, or not heading, which may be the case in this instance. But really shift that focus to those other goals. Put that energy where it belongs, in a positive direction, and let's not worry about the obstacles right now, because it is getting to the point where it is your time to shine in making something of some other plans. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, Pluto, Mercury, and Venus are all in conjunction with each other this week. Mercury is direct, and we're moving out of that shadow period of Mercury's past retrograde, which we're all happy about because it was kind of a pain in the rear, so to speak. But as they've been trined with Jupiter all this time, Mars has moved into a position to be a grand sextile with all of these planets together, and it's a beautiful energy, especially when it favors financial gain big time for you Capricorns. It's all about making money for you guys, and there's so much energy pushing everything forward that things seem to be moving very, very quickly. So quickly that Pluto, Venus, and Mercury are still squared with Uranus, and that doesn't even seem to be slowing you down. It's really projecting you forward, giving you a lot of great ideas, and giving you something for your hands to do, because you know how you Capricorns love to get your hands into projects and really get things moving. Now, this square does mean that you may feel like you don't have a lot of outside support to do these things, and it may feel a little bit overwhelming knowing that you're doing all these things by yourself, but this is your time. I mean, this is really your time to shine, and that lack of quote-unquote support there is kind of necessary, because this is really all about you, all about what you can do, all about what you can accomplish, and that support is really not needed right now. You may think that I'm joking here, or you may think that I'm lying about that, but really this everything that's going on for you guys this week is really to not only test you out, but to show you what you're made of, what you, Capricorn individual person, are made of, not what you're made of when everybody comes together to help you out. And besides, nobody's going to do it quite as well as you can anyways. I mean, that is the true Capricorn mantra anyways, is it not? So this week, really put everything you got into what you're doing when it comes to making money, making some plans to make more money. It's all there. The doors are all open for you. And if you don't have the support that you'd like to have, that's okay, because it really is all about what you can do and not what you can do back to by a whole bunch of people. So you guys have a great week with that. Aquarius, we're into the second full week of the sun in Aquarius, so it is Aquarius time, and of course, happy birthday to all the Aquarians that are born this week. I can't think of any personally off the top of my head, and I should have looked, I'm sorry, but you know, happy birthday to you guys. Now, the sun's grand sextile with Uranus and Saturn it's all about your goals. It's all about achieving your goals. It's all about really providing the support you need to achieve those goals. We're talking all the support that you have, and a lot of Aquarians being very individual people, or very independent people, I should say, oftentimes don't like to have too much support. It's almost like they really like to do things themselves, which is okay. I mean, that's a good thing. But you have to live on the other end of the spectrum too, and allow that support to come in and really hold you up. Now, this support is definitely needed this week, because as the sun moves into squared position with Mars, it's going to be really frustrating when it feels like what you're trying to do on a daily basis, it just seems like there's wrenches in your plans over and over and over again. So, of course, this is going to prove that you can't do everything yourself. You're going to have to rely on some other people to help you out with some things. Now, the truth is, nothing wonderful. You're not going to ever have a chance to have everything perfect. so that you can be successful. It doesn't work that way. A nice clear road to get all the way to the other side. That never happens. You have to get through the obstacles. The more obstacles you get through, the more amazing the outcome is. So the truth is, these obstacles may be really frustrating, especially with Mars energy to back those up. But when you think about it, you got all this support, you got all these people there to really hold you up and help you out. What difference do the obstacles make in the end? That's what you want to ask yourself. Look at those obstacles for what they are. There's a wrench in your plans. There's a reason for it, obviously. It's because you need to be a little less independent, a little bit more open to the possibility of help and support, and really, really important, how are you going to deny those who are willing to help you the blessing of doing what you've probably done for them in the past? Think about that. And you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces. Neptune's grand sextile with Pluto, Venus, Mars, and of course that Mercury that is now direct, thank goodness, is really a big deal for you guys. It's all about success when it comes to your career and finances, and really giving you, backing it up with some beautiful energy to get things done on a daily basis. And after the last few months of difficulties with Neptune's squared position with Saturn, which is still there, of course, it's not going anywhere anytime soon, I'm afraid, and it is going to cause some difficulties within your relationships this week. It's a breath of fresh air to have these other planets really lining up in a positive way. Now, when we're talking about these difficulties with the relationships, honey, you're not going to get along with everybody. That's just not how it works, really. People are going to have different opinions, and they're not always going to share the same opinion as you. In a perfect world, that might work, but we don't live in one of those, unfortunately. So we'll go back to the reality of, yes, you may have ideas, and yes, there may be some people out there that don't necessarily agree with your ideas, but when it comes down to it, it's your goal, it's your life, it's your career, and it is really up to you. Now, of course, if we're talking about goals that impact other people, then yes, compromises are going to have to be made. What you don't want to do is allow Mars's energy to not be a benefit with ambitious energy and turn that into frustration because you're not getting what you want, okay? You may actually have an idea, it's a great idea, it just needs a little bit of tweaking, and that's where this other person comes in. So this week, the biggest thing is not to focus too much time on the obstacles, not to focus too much time on these relationship issues. They're just little issues, they're really not that big of a deal. What you do want to focus on is celebrating your success this week, your career, your financial success this week. It has been a long time coming, and for crying out loud, you most definitely deserve to sit back and celebrate for a while. Okay, guys? So you guys have a great week with that. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Don't forget to check out our links, the Heavy Metal Psychic Facebook page. Keep up with the Heavy Metal Psychic on Paramania Radio. Book your readings. We've got 1 hour readings, half-hour readings. Hey, you can even do a 15-minute reading. You come to me with a question, and I will answer it within 15 minutes. And, of course, the natal chart readings, the chart progressions, all of that beautiful stuff that the Heavy Metal Psychic, that would be me, does. Again, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching the horoscopes this week, and I hope you guys have a great week.